How's it going, everyone? This is Rosalind, and today we're going to be taking a look at the latest series boss. This is the series boss for FFBE, Chaotic Darkness, and this is the party I ended up doing the fight with. Now, my Espers are set up for a reason. The first four here are for elemental resistances and killers, and this one right here is because I don't need really the elemental resistances so much on Nickel, so I gave him Phoenix for an extra raise. Now, I opted to do the fight with a magic tank. I know a lot of people are doing it with a physical tank, but this is what worked out best for me, so this is what I did. And this is how I have her set up. Now, the most important thing is 100% water resistance, 100% dark resistance. This, combined with Nickel's buffs, will make it to where she takes very little damage throughout the entirety of the fight, with the exception of attacks from non-elemental and things like that. I also have her with Safety Bit. This is because, in addition to using magic cover, she's also going to be provoking, and for the physical attacks that happen, single target ones. And this is also going to help because the boss does have a single target death. Also, I gave her a Holy Wand, so her counters deal light damage, and in pinch, this also lets her use Holy. Now, for CG Lid, I have her set up pretty standard, limit break, whatnot. I gave her a light weapon for the same reason as I did Charlotte, and as you can see, she has 100% dark resistance. This is actually the main thing you want to be worried about. And then I gave her a little bit of water resistance as well. This is my main attacker in Soul. Now, I did do this fight with other attackers. I tried Sora and whatnot, and basically anybody works, but I think Soul is one of the best for the fight, but really anybody will work, doesn't matter. This is how I have him set up. Now, I opted not to give him killers, because I wanted to get 100% of status element protection, and I wanted to get his HP up, and then I also needed water resistance, so he doesn't have any killer passives here. Like I said, 100% dark resistance, a little bit of water resistance. Then I have Folka. This is how I have her set up. Pretty standard. I gave her Dispel to have access to a second Dispel, just in case I needed it. She has 100% dark resistance, and obviously her water resistance is through the roof. I have her equipped with a dark shield. Her dark resistance is coming from the shield and this accessory. And I have her with the shield because I have her with shield arm, which gives her access to heavy shields, because normally she does not have access to them. And then I have CG Nickel. I just have him set up for just standard. Basically, he doesn't really need a whole lot of stats outside of, defensives, passives, and whatnot. But the main thing, getting him 100% dark resistance, and then obviously he has his base water resistance. So that is the party that I ended up doing the fight with, and we'll get more into the actual fight in a minute. Alright, here we are in the fight. So this fight is incredibly simple, to be honest. There's not really a whole lot going on that you have to worry about or that you have control over. You just need to make sure that you're maintaining buffs and debuffs, and pretty much everything will go good. Essentially, the boss uses a bunch of dark and water magic attacks and physical attacks. And the way I've set up my party is I'm, anything that's coverable or that's non-coverable, I'm preventing that damage using elemental resistances and elemental resistance buffs. And then everything that's coverable or provocable is being taken up by Charlotte. And that's that, really. Other than that, I'm keeping up, my defensive buffs, and I'm keeping up shields on my party, and I'm also keeping the boss's attack and magic broken at all times. And as you'll see throughout the fight, I mean, the damage is relatively low. The only turns that are really scary is right after you cross thresholds. So it's a threshold at 80%, one at 50%, and one again at 20%. And at these thresholds, the boss will it'll use a thing at the top of the screen. If you can read Japanese, it'll say Yami, and then the kanji for darkness, and it'll have another little phrase after it. And this changes throughout the fight, what it says, but you need to hit him with light attacks at this point in time. Otherwise, he's going to keep using, or he's going to use a shield, and he's going to heal himself, and he's going to do a bunch of other stuff. And this is the fight I haven't really figured out, because every time I've done this fight, for the most part, on the 80% and the 50% transitions, I've had no issues with this, where I've crossed the transition, I've prevented him from either using the shield, or I've only had him use the shield one time, and then moved on. the fight, kept using light attacks and everything was going good. But in a few attempts when I was getting below 20% and this was happening, some attempts he would use a shield, and then I would, dispel the shield, use light damage, and proceed on with the fight with normal. And then sometimes I would dispel the shield, deal light damage, and he'd just keep recasting it every single turn. And it seems completely random. Obviously there's some sort of gimmick to it, or maybe it's broken or something because it's not working properly, or I just haven't figured out what it is, because it really just does seem like every other time I do this fight, the boss will decide, hey, I'm just going to cast this shield and heal myself and do a bunch of damage to you every single turn, and then, every other attempt after that, he's like, oh, okay, cool, you sealed my stuff, right? So, I don't know, basically just, keep up your buffs, keep up the boss debuffed, deal damage to him. You just, deal light damage to him. The boss is weak to light. Don't deal dark damage to him. He absorbs dark, and he'll be fine. I mean, you do want to keep up like stop resistance, because the boss does have, like, I think it's like a single target stop with a 60% chance to hit you. But just keep that up. It's an incredibly simple boss fight. Really, it's actually kind of a nice, refreshing change of pace, actually, compared to some of the previous fights. But either way, like I said, keep up buffs, keep up debuffs, and deal damage to the boss, and you'll kill it. It's very simple. But if you do have any more questions, do feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And as always, just a reminder, I do stream live on Twitch every single day, and whenever new content for FFBE is out, I do that new content. So if you are wanting to watch me do this stuff live, do feel free to head over to my Twitch channel. There will be a link in the description below. So again, thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.